Hey you YouTubers, this is Chris the Mentalist Dreher, aka Dreher55597 here. And I've been thinking of what I could do, different for psychics, for pure psychics, other than just deck profiles, because truthfully, it's after a while there's so many, there's only so many ways that you can really make a pure psychic deck, at least competitively. So now I want to get into one of my subscribers. He sent me a message asking about side decking. So this is a video response to that. I feel like I can maybe I can help you guys decide for every particular matchup with psychics. So what I want to do here is tell you guys cards that I find effective and how to beat particular matchups. So, and I'm going to go based off of game 1 and then games 2 and 3. So, game 1, your main way to beat Dino Rabbit is to do the overdrive play as quickly as physically possible. You want to use this guy's effect turn 1 if you can. If you have an emergency teleport in this, just go for broke. Because most Dino Rabbit players are playing Macro Rabbit, which means that they're not playing Effect Valor and they should not be playing Maxi. Because if they had Macro face up, which they want all the time, they wouldn't be able to pitch it. So hopefully you'll be able to get Overdrive effect off without any problem. And when you do, my 2 cards that I would suggest to go into are Barkion first, because it mitigates the back rows that they set. The only real back row that they would have that should do anything is Fiendish Chain or Forbidden Lance. And for both of those, actually, Thought Ruler is the second one that I would go into. And of course, depending on how you're feeling and everything, you can go Stardust or Scrap Dragon or whatever. But if I had the choice, knowing I was going against a Dino Rabbit, these are the 2 that I would make first. For a couple reasons. One is most everyone knows that the easiest way, most direct way to beat a Dino Rabbit player is to break that 24 barrier. If you go in the Naturia, Barkion, or Thought Ruler, then your opponent has to exceed into a monster bigger than that, or they have to exceed into a Zen Maze. If they go into Zen Maze, then they've stopped their Laggia Rabbit play. And sure, they'll destroy your cards, but then you have this card to back you up. If they go into any other rank 4, then you've wasted their rabbit, summon, and you've wasted 2 dino materials for an exceed that's not nearly as powerful. If they still go into laggia or dolkka, then that tells you a lot about what they have in their hand. Mainly that they have Forbidden Lance, or that they have, chainable traps that are greater than the amount of greater than the amount of cards that you have in your grave. So that's why I would like to go on a Barkion and Thought Ruler first, so that you can mitigate that back row, and then you can kind of read what your opponent has. So my game plan is usually going to these 2, and then after they've wasted their resources getting rid of these, you summon this card onto the field. There's not there's not an exceed in the game that straight out beats this card. They can go into Gaga Gunman, or Cowboy, excuse me, and they can go into Symphony Stroke, or Ma Stroke the Symphony Gen. But for both of those, you should have back row to stop that from happening. So those are the 2 synchros that do the most damage that we have at our disposal. I mean, other than I'll have Justice Catastrophe. Then main deck Spelling Trap card answers. Pretty Laggia, Bottomless, and Torrential Tribute. Bottomless gets rid of 2 dinos. That's what this card does. They summon a rabbit, they go and get their 2 Cabazals, Bottomless. Same thing, Torrential. That's what these cards are for. Torrential is also to make sure that your Serene Psychic Witch effect goes off before Dolkka can negate it. So that's these 2 are really just pre Laggia and Dolkka. And then post Laggia and Dolkka is Dimensional Prison. This card just gets rid of their monster. It forces a laggia negation. It forces a Forbidden Lance. So they have to have one of those two in order to save their monster. If they don't, if they wasted their Forbidden Lance on your Thought Roller or your barkion or something like that, you deprison their monster, and then you should be in a pretty good position. And last, main deck answer that, other than Effect Valor for Rabbit, if you're lucky enough that they don't have macro, is actually Space. Mystical Space Typhoon. I was watching a video, I'm not quite sure who it was, sorry I don't have the name to give you any credit if you are watching. But macro is one of their strongest cards, one of the strongest cards in the format. So, if you know you're playing against Rabbit, they summon Rabbit. Oh crap. I'm going to save this Space until they chain Macro Cosmos, because that is one of their strongest cards. It forces a laggia negation. Actually, yeah, I mean, that's really, if they're going to stop it with a Solemn Judgment, they can, but you're not going to find a player to do that. So, this forces a laggia negation unless they have another one, which you can also, read that through a Mystical Space Typhoon too. So those are some main deck answers that you should have for the Dino Rabbit matchup. And then side deck, there are a couple that everyone knows, like Gozen Match. This stops them from going into anything, but it doesn't stop everything. If they summon Rabbit and you have Gozen Match face down and you flip it, they can still go into 2 Saber Sauruses, 1900 beaters, hit you, and then they can go into Gagagu Gunman and burn you for 800 more. If they have 2 Kaboozles on the field and you activate Gozen Match, they can still go into Abyss Dweller, which is actually kind of a nuisance for psychics. And if they have 2 Drak Vipers on the board, they can go into Laggia or Dolkka. So, what I like to side in is Rivalry of the Warlords. I side them all in. They're all actually really good, but I like Rivalry of the Warlords a lot better, because while it does not allow me to go into Thought Roller and Barkion at the same time, it does allow me to go into Thought Roller and Ultimate Axon Kicker at the same time, which I cannot do under Gozen Match. So it allows me to get into my biggest monsters, my strongest win condition with this card face up. And more importantly, there is not a single rank 4 dinosaur printed. So Rivalry of Warlords stops the Rabbit play from developing any further than getting 2 beaters on the field, and you should be able to deal with that. So that's one card that I like to side in, and everyone knows about Snowman Eater. Everyone knows how good it is, this format, but nobody knows about Wind-Up Juggler. And one of my subscribers told me about Wind-Up Juggler. I've been testing it. It's absolutely phenomenal. Because unlike, well, Snowman's Eater is searchable, but I don't run Sandgen. So, in my build, Wind-Up Juggler is a lot better, because when Serene Psychic Witch is destroyed, I'll just go and get that Wind-Up Juggler face down. Out of play. Then my opponent, if they already have Laggia on the field, they have to set Bottomless, they have to set Compulse, they have to set Phoenix Chain, and then they have to waste that card on a Wind-Up Juggler. And if you waste that on a Wind-Up Juggler, then that means that my overdrive play is now free. That means that my Destructotron play is now free. Wind-Up Juggler makes a card in the back row move, or it kills a Laggia. It forces a negation of Dolkka. It does all of this stuff, so that's kind of why I like Juggler, and he's searchable by Serene Psychic Witch. I think I've mentioned that already. Next, Destructotron. Rabbit players make a Laggia and set the 2 to 4 back row, because you can't Heavy Storm over it. So, normal summon Destructotron, or special summon it through Serene Psychic Witch. Now you got a Heavy Storm that they have to Bottomless, or they have to Compulse, or they have to Phoenix Chain. Dimensional Prison Mirror Force does nothing to it. So it's just like Lila. When this card hits the field, a card in their back row is going to move regardless of what happens. Everybody knows about Phoenix Chain, so there's really no point in going over this. This goes in for the Effect Veilers. because macro kills effect failure. Absolutely. So, and speaking of the devil, everybody knows they run macro. Everybody knows that. So, to counter that, I like to run Brain Hazard. Brain Hazard is just Call to Haunted for banished psychics. And I run Call to Haunted. So, since I know that Call to Haunted is going to be dead game 2 and 3, put in Brain Hazard. And my Call to Haunted is back. It's something that even Dino Rabbit players don't have. Yes, they have very easy access to Levier, but so do we. This is just another one. And this helps me get to my Thought Rollers, helps me get to my Psychic Nightmares, helps me get my ultimate Axon Kickers back. It does all of that for me. So, I like Brain Hazard. And then finally, DD Telepon. For those of you who don't know, this card reads, if this face-up card you control is banished, you can banish one Psychic-type monster with 1500 attack or less from your deck. Then during your next standby phase, if this card is still banished, special summon that monster. So, 1800 defense, which is actually pretty cool. Kabuzals can't get over it. Neither can Direct Liba. But if they have macro on the field, you can synchro with this card. You can tribute this card. You can do a plethora of things with this and get its effect because it's an if and you can, which means it does not miss timing. This turns their macro Cosmos advantage against them because every time this card is banished from out of play, you get a card back. You get an effect again. And it kind of mitigates that -1 or -2 that you take every time that you would synchro summon under macro. It makes it a -1 instead, which, I mean, it's still bad card economy, but at least, you know, you're not taking as bad of a fall. And it also helps you play this card more offensively, because if they have Macro Cosmos on the field, then you're going to need a card, you're going to need a Psychic Monster on board and a Psychic Synchro on board in order to activate this. If you activate this and you banish both of these too, you get to get your ultimate Axon Kicker out onto the field, and you get to banish a Psychic from your deck out of play to get back during your next standby phase. So, it's kind of a card that it's a side deck card that helps you gain advantage when you play against Macro Rabbit. And it's searchable, as with every other card, so I really like it in this matchup. Some cards that I don't have, Compulse and Fiendish Chain. Forbidden Lance. And they're used in the Dino Rabbit matchup against them too. Because if they go and summon Laggia and you activate Compulse, well, they either have to activate Forbidden Lance, which makes it a 1700 beater. That can negate a spell, a trap card, or a summon. But if you have a commander on the field, that Laggia is not going to attack you. They can't do anything. So if you Compulse and they have to activate Laggia's effect, or they have to activate Forbidden Lance. Then if they don't and they attack, you activate Forbidden Lance. Well, they have to activate Laggia's effect no matter what then. So it helps you play defensively and offensively too. So that's my side decking advice for Psychics against Dino Macro Rabbit. Before I go, I would like to tell you guys that I do not mind if helping anybody. If you guys have any questions, please feel free to inbox me, and I will answer any questions that you guys have. And I am not the say-all of Psychics. So if you guys have any suggestions, feel free to put them in the comment box below. Feel free to to message me. I love constructive criticism, and I love to hear you guys' tech choices, because Wind Up Juggler, I didn't think of that. A subscriber of mine did. So anyways, I hope this helps you out in the Macro Rabbit matchup, and I will be posting up these videos soon for every meta deck that is that you should be seeing in a regional or a higher competition level. Anyways, rate, comment, and subscribe. Peace.